My name is Roland Oro. I'm the founder and director of the Nigeria Agribusiness Register. The Nigeria Agribusiness Register is the host of this event, the Agribusiness Networking, AgNet for short. So this event was conceived to bring project promoters in agribusiness to meet with alternative fund providers, which includes angel funds, venture capital funds, social impact funds, development finance, and diaspora funds, and several other types of alternative funds which are not very active in the agribusiness space in this country. So our hope and desire is that over the next 5 years, we'll be able to facilitate $3.4 billion of new investments into the agribusiness space.
My name is Adam Saffer. I'm the Chief of Party of a newly funded project by USAID Feed the Future. It is called Nigeria Agribusiness Investment Activity. And our goal is to be working to help relieve some of the constraints that affect Nigeria's agribusiness sector. So I'm here today with Roland and with the Agribusiness Register and AgNet to meet other agribusinesses as well as other donors and other funders and investors in this space to see how we can best collaborate to relieve some of these constraints and get access to finance and investment to the smallholder farmers.
We're excited by this occasion where AgNet is pulling together partners in the agribusiness world. So because it falls under the MSME sector activity of the FSS.
Through One Hectare One Family are trying to promote a no-till revolution in Nigeria. So what we're trying to do is to get farmers to convert from conventional tillage, which is what we currently do, to minimal or no tillage, where we don't plow and harrow the soils anymore, and we're able to conserve the quality of our soils whilst promoting yields on our fields.
Today we are launching a maiden edition of what we call Agribusiness Networking, right? And this is an outreach service of the Nigeria Agribusiness Register. The register was conceived and established for the sole purpose. It has 5 basic functions: to track existing agribusinesses in the country across 15 value chains, and using that information to generate information that can be used for planning purposes. All right. As you know, there is a need to increase investments in agriculture. There is a need to create jobs. Nigeria needs 11 million jobs every year. Starting from this month, we will be going around the value chains we are tracking under the register.
We are coming with the second line of urea plant that will come in 2022. Then it will be close to 3 million metric ton capacity of that. So it's close to $3.5 billion investment. It's a highest investment in whole of Africa when it comes to the downstream, when it comes to the agricultural investments. And most of our cargo, when it comes to we supply domestically to justify all the demands and all. In Nigeria, we are supplying close to 600,000 tons of cargo. And then after Nigeria, we supply to all of the West African countries and then Latin America and US.
Yeah, here in this so many new businesses are there, new ideas are there, and most of people are our clients here. So they are expanding their business. For example, some fertilizer blenders are there, they are expanding, and we are happy to help them and with the supply of our urea fertilizer. And some of the distributors are there, some of warehousing people are there, and wherever possible we will do the help and we will get the business growth, and we want to serve the Nigerian farmer.
I've been involved in developing finance activities, and now that I'm on my own, I'm still interested in expanding the frontiers of small business and financial inclusion, especially small business in the agri space?
We are an agric manufacturing enterprise. We primarily focus our efforts in poultry feed, crushing soybeans and maize meal, and we are currently in the process of backward integrating into commercial agric, with the first phase of 900 hectares of irrigation, and then over the next 3 years into 2,500 hectares of centrifugal irrigation, so that we can supply our own requirements as well as develop our growth schemes.
We're going to be encouraging these sort of sessions, and I want to indulge you or request that you be patient with us as we move on. This is going to be a monthly affair, and we're going to make an effort to attract more fund providers. There are several fund providers that are missing the room today. Maybe they're on the way coming. We're expecting the Bank of Industry, which is the government's development bank that provides market lending for the real sector, including agribusiness SMEs.
Our project is a 5-year project, and as I said before, the 3 components are policy, legal and regulatory reform, access to finance, and facilitating agribusiness investment. The main constraint, as all of us know, and it's not just here, it's across the developing world, is access to finance for smallholder farmers. So that's really where we're focused. The way we're going to do this is through a value chain approach, working with the larger players and looking at their value chains and see how we can support the SMEs along that value chain. So it could be producers, it could be aggregators, transporters, cold chain, packagers. We are restricted in a couple different ways. We have 5 value chains we're working on, and they are rice, maize, cowpea, soybean, and aquaculture. So most of our work will be in those. If we're working with a processor that processes multiple crops and some of those crops are not in those 5, that's okay. The main target is getting money to companies so they can expand and become more competitive. And we're going to focus on those states, and if there's some spillover to another state, as long as we can report that we're connected to Kaduna and we're helping firms grow and expand, I think we're going to take this, we're going to be as open as USAID allows us to be.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Anna, and as I already said, I'm representing here GIZ NICOP. We are a GIZ, an European Union funded program. We are going to be in Nigeria for the next 4 years, and we are focusing on 4 value chains: tomato, ginger, leather, and garment. Our approach is very similar to the one of USAID. We're going to be trying to facilitate finance and investment. We are also going to be looking into policy and regulation that will make the business enabling environment easier to make business. But we are also going to be providing technical support across the value chains on different areas, with good agricultural practices, farmer business school, financial literacy, introducing new seed varieties, fertilizers, pesticides. We are also going to be looking into mechanization and equipment introduction. So we are here to help. We are going to have a small component on grants. It's very, very small, and they need to go through BSOs, but I always say our value does not come from the grants, it comes from what we can facilitate. Our major goal will really be to unlock all the finance and investment that is required in the value chains, and we can do a lot of capacity building for the farmers, for the processors. We can do market linkages, we can help on certification, on standards, and on product quality and product creativity.
It's really more of a comment from Alan, but Anna and I have talked before, and our projects are very similar. She's focusing on different value chains than we are, but we're trying to do the same thing, and I think we both are very open to working with each other and sharing information and using both of our networks. So when you talk to her, talk to me, we're trying to put together a group of donors, so instead of competing with each other, we work collaboratively. And I think Anna's project is really good and more experienced than we are. I'm going to be contacting her for advice as well.
Some focal states. Our focal states are Kano, Kaduna, Platon, Ogun, Oyo, Abia, and Lagos State. Again, those are our major focal points, but if there are other dealers that can provide value to our value chains, we are always willing to collaborate and help and assist.
We have some partners who are also giving us live via live streaming. We have First Unity, it's an alternative capital company based in Canada. They've been trying to look for deals in Nigeria for some time now, and they told us that they are willing to look at some of our projects. And they will also have Embracer Capital, it's a Turkish-based fund management company. They're also interested in projects in Nigeria. All right. So without much ado, I think we should, let's take David. David Elliott is the private sector advisor for DFID. He just started working in Nigeria in the last few days.
In terms of responsibilities, we have a large program of links, which has been contracted to try and get off the ground. Responsibilities to design a much larger program for about 2 years to implement system. So your knowledge is
Thank you for listening to me. So I'll pitch first. Okay, so I'm the promoter of this. I'm CEO of 1 Hectare 1 Family, and I've been farming for a long time. And I was named 2018 Farmer of the Year by the Cornell Alliance for Science. Now, in our experience in farming in Nigeria, one of the key challenges we've had. So we've done a lot of things. We've grown grain on large scale. We've multiplied seeds for Monsanto. Eventually, we registered our own company, which is called YieldWise Seeds, focused on growing good quality seed because we find the farmers always get shortchanged with the seeds, and so there's more help needed in the seed sector. There's a lot of seed companies doing well, but more help is needed. So we tried to do something, create an integrated system where we have good quality seed that the farmers can get. So 1 Hectare 1 Family is our company that's focused on working with smallholder farmers and using our experience to help them, do better and so on. So with this, what we did with 1 Hectare 1 Family basically is we aggregated farmers and then got access to funding for them from central bank. So we started. The goal is to cultivate 200,000 hectares in about 5 years. So our startup should have been 1,000 hectares, but we were short on time, so we only made 530.
Yeah, number one is that the FSS is actually driving a lot of activities in the MSME sector. Number one are a number of outstanding bills at the National Assembly, with the legal unit of the FSS is pursuing aggressively to see to their passage. One very important one is the seed bill, national seed bill. The second is the fertilizer bill. All these are activities, if passed, will assist SMEs in the usage of proper fertilizer and seed.
It's not uncommon to constantly define the problem and study and not do anything. I think this forum is quite unique. It's my first venture into this in Nigeria, but this is a form of dialogue. It's a form of public-private and private-private dialogue where you're actually open and free to discuss issues, opportunities, ideas, constraints, past experience. So I think the key to getting this to be successful is open communication, a willingness to think laterally, an openness to try things. Not everything will work, but the biggest challenge I find in development across the world is behavioral change. People don't like to change. They'll talk and talk and talk, but they still go about it the same way. They still farm the same way that their parents and grandparents did. They still lend money under traditional lending practices, which requires immovable collateral, which is very difficult for a small business. It's hard to make change, but if you find the champions, and the champions are willing to experiment and pilot and demonstrate things that work.
When it comes to, we distribute crop management practices free. We are close to 500 to 600 demonstrations we are doing annually, where we give urea fertilizer free to the farmer and the technical advice is free to farmers. And in 2016 we trained close to 50,000 farmers. In 2017 200,000 farmers, and in 2018 we trained 300,000 farmers. In 2019 we have a target to train 400,000 farmers in Nigerian geography.
Okay, so the promoter of the program invited me, and I thought it's a brilliant idea because there's a huge gap between people in the ag space and the funders. Basically, it's difficult to get your businesses or your ideas or your startups funded currently in agric in Nigeria. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity. It's an ingenious business that he started up, and just being able to create these linkages that are missing, between the ag business and the ag finances is very important.
So the issue of funding is two sides. You have these fund providers and those who receive the funds. Now, if those who need funds are not well packaged, they are not able to present their project very well, then they might not be able to attract funds. So there's need for facilitation, there's need for assistance on both sides, and that's the role that we are playing right now. Standing in the middle, working with those who need funds and those who provide funds, and then making deals happen by ensuring that projects are well packaged on one side, and those who have the funds have the comfort and confidence to put their money into this project. So that's one aspect of the problem. The other aspect is that there has to be the right policy support to make these deals happen. And as you noticed today, we brought people from the central bank, to also look at what are the policy issues affecting why SMEs are not getting funded. So we're going to follow up on these issues over time, and we're going to be addressing these issues. It's not going to be resolved overnight, but consistently and steadily working, trying to understand both parties, we can be able to make some impact.